Tervist, kallis filmihuviline! Minuga on siin Nordic Hotelli stuudios Kosovo režissöör Fatos Berisha, kelle Monty Pythonist inspireeritud film Lendav CIRCUS PÖFFi raames maailma esilinastub. Ja kõigepealt vaatame ära filmi treileri.
Qysh bëhen në Pallini? Po ne? Vet Pallini.
Michael Pallini, Monty Python sa në Shqipni.
Po kjo koka fenomenal.
E di që s'keni pasaport, apo s'ka problem.
Hajde, spremit të liste karte.
Bjeżit të Shqiptar. Ashto bjeżit. Ashto ne branite Kosovo. Pushti muziku majku ti jebem.
Ish ku fini këtu? Kam i letër e mujnë me namet? Mirja.
E pun fa tokën shqiptare.
Nanu! Nanu, më! Pe ku i kari ku ikim. Në Shqipni jem.
Qysh me dit? Ku jemi, mre vlla? E ma mu ik.
Qa kam mrenja dhe qanta. Altia.
Hajde më. Oli. Me pa Tiranën më. Ja me kuke. Tiranë. Jo Tirana jo. A dal mos ja fut kot, dama. Mos ja fut kot. E çka nëse vjen Pallini?
Ku vete orë vëlla Kosovar? Po shko në luft?
So, hello Mr. Berisha. Welcome to Tallinn.
Hello, Joseph.
It's your first time here.
It's my first time in Tallinn, first time in Estonia, first time in the festival.
Nice.
I'm very happy to be here.
You're a Kosovan man.
I am. Very, quite fat Kosovan man.
Can you show the shirt?
Yes. And very proud as well. Yeah.
All right. So your film takes place, or is like situated before the Kosovan War, as I
Yes.
understand, in 1998.
Yes.
And it talks about 4 courageous actors who go on this trip to have their kind of theater play played in Albania.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's called The Flying Circus, and it's influenced by Monty Python. So, as I understand, this is based on true events, kind of. So
Yes.
what can you tell me about these events?
Yes, you said it right. It's based on 2 events, and I was part of that journey.
Okay.
So I was the 5th person, which is not in the film. I was when I wrote it, I tried to be the 5th person, the camera. So even when I filmed it, I filmed it in a way that I was like a witness of the whole trip. The whole film was shot on a handheld camera. I tried to be like a real witness, camera like a real witness, as I was actually part of that journey. And it was a very surreal journey, and in a very surreal and very dangerous time. It just, war was just starting, around Kosovo, and the very dangerous times. And then these 4 naive people, and 5th, the most naive was me, of course, because I even wasn't part of that play. I was just going to help them to do the lights and the sound, because the theater technicians were afraid to go on a journey, and they were my friends. So I went to that trip, and I never knew why I went. Until the day I started writing the script, much more later. And then I realized probably I was my destiny to be, part of this journey, because somebody had to write it. And the 4 original actors from that journey, they wanted to do it themselves, all of them individually, but they couldn't make it.
Okay,
So at the end, I did it, and here we are in Tallinn.
great. So did they actually have a play called The Flying Circus?
No,
Or was something else?
the original name of the play was different, but it was very complicated to translate it into English or any other languages.
Yeah.
It was a kind of metaphor to the Monty Python, the word of play. So it was for me more easy to play with the Flying Circus metaphor also because of the Monty Python. So I renamed the original play into the Flying Circus, which I think it fits.
Nice, nice. So it has like 4 quite different characters. Are they similar to what actually they were like? Like there's like an intellectual type, kind of a crazy guy, also like a really macho guy, I would
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
and like an everyman character.
Yes, exactly. Joseph, you really described it very well. I wish I knew this when I started writing, because it took me a very long time to make these characters like this, and they are not, they don't look like the original actors in our journey. And this was my biggest obstacles, because when I was writing for many years, I was doing it.
How long was it?
I mean, from the day I started writing until today, it's 9 years. So it took me, like 4 or 5 years, I think, to write it.
Okay.
And most of the obstacles were because in my head I always was seeing the original, friends, original actors from the journey. So I couldn't, and they are not like that, and they are normal people and my friends. So I need really to struggle to make them, film cinematic, characters. And also it took me also help of a lot of script doctors, and dramaturgs and my friends who was reading. So I developed it quite long time, and I had to come to this final, let's say, version of these 4 characters, which I really try to portray them as you did. So thank you for also acknowledging this.
Nice. How did you cast these actors for the film?
Yes.
How was the process?
I did casting in 2 countries, in Kosovo and Albania, because this is a mostly Albanian-speaking film, and in Kosovo and Albania there are Albanian-speaking actors. And I met hundreds of actors I met in during audition, but I think I had one of them I had always in my mind, and the rest I had to really do it in auditions, and couple of auditions, couple of testing, but also because I work also in theater quite a lot, and in television, like TV series. I know many actors, really. I work with them every day, so I kind of had in my head, the characters and the actors, but I just needed to, let's say, test them one more. Before I start filming, I did one, let's say, kind of test filming, like a trailer, and then I casted 3 of the 4 they are in the film, and then I changed the 4th, unfortunately for him, but lucky for the guy who went in.
Who was the 4th one?
The 4th one was intellectual.
Okay.
He came in later, because I worked with him just before the film in the theater play. So I really liked him so much, and then I had to make this hard decision, and so this is the casting, and I like working with actors. Really, I also do that in theater quite a lot.
Nice. How long did you shoot the film?
We had a very tough schedule, since this is a road movie, and we had really to film on the road, and we even tried to match the original route of the original route of the original journey. So we had to film in Kosovo, Montenegro, Albania, in 3 different countries, and it's logistical nightmare, especially with the Balkans, all these complications and everything. And also a tiny budget, and I don't know how Fatos Berisha, our producer, I don't know how she managed to do it on this tiny budget and very hard schedule. We filmed, I think, 22 days, if I'm not 22 days. So it was a kind of small miracle and we finished on time, and everything was fine and no problem at all.
So how hard is it to find film funding in Kosovo?
Yeah, we have a film center. It's a public film fund, which gives annually funds for films for production. But it's a small country and the budgets are very small.
How many people are in Kosovo?
There are approximately 2 million, so it's quite a small country.
2 times as big as Estonia.
Big?
Yeah, it's bigger than Estonia.
In terms
We
of
have
population?
1 million people.
Oh, I don't know, but you're bigger, I think, in size. So we are quite crowded there. And then, so we had to, we had some support from the film center. First for development, then also for production, but also then later came Albania, same with the development and production, and at the end, as a post-production came Republic of North Macedonia, which is our neighbor. So we have somehow packed this film and made a package and finished this film on time to get for Tallinn. And it's not easy. I mean, our countries are, small and poor. They are not part of the European Union. We are in this region of Balkans, which is also not so politically stable and economically as well. So it's not easy to live, not to say to film, to make films. So, but of course, recently a lot of our films from Kosovo have emerged, and it's a small film industry that is really kind of emerging. Our films are traveling to really like A-list festivals, like Tallinn is now. We had 2 years ago another Kosovan film here. We had films in Berlinale, in San Sebastian, Sundance. So it's going well, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So this film shows like a lot of corruption and dealing with bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And how was it like back then? Have things like changed to the better, I hope?
Yeah. Yes, it's true. I mean, it was like in the movie. It is a real story. I followed really, our really original story. So what you see in the film is most of the things happen. Most, not 100%. I had to change a few things, but yes, we lived in a very, I say, surreal time. It's almost bizarre. Which ended in wars. Wars in the Balkans, and then the last war was the Kosovan War. And then after the war, yes, it's better because we are free. This is the best thing. Being free. You don't know because you take it for granted. Yeah. But it's when you are not free, and then you get, let's say, liberated. It's something fantastic. It's something to really reason for joy and happiness. But it's not, you can't live of joy and happiness. You have to eat, and that makes life hard. Still today in Kosovo and the whole region in the Balkans, the Western Balkans I'm talking, it's very hard because it's a poor region and it's a high corruption still. And people are going out, they are immigrating still today, going to Europe or America. And all Kosovo has also another thing, that is the only country that still needs visas to go to the EU. And I don't know why. It just makes me angry, And some of the actors that will come here tonight for the film, which we are going to screen, needed to go to get visas. It's very hard, it's very complicated, it's very denigrated.
So like in the film, they had to also cross
Yes,
the border?
they also had to go to this kind of bureaucracy. Now it's European bureaucracy,
Sad.
So, it's not easy, but as I said also in other interview, we take humor as a kind of method to survive mentally, to get our sanity normal. So if you don't have humor, it's very hard.
So, when you were a small boy in Yugoslavia, did you have when was your first contact with Monty Python?
Yes. Kosovo was part of ex-Yugoslavia, ex-socialist Yugoslavia. So, but that was a very unique country in the socialist, let's say, world, because we had much more freedom. We could travel, really. We could travel everywhere in the world with a passport. like today we need visas. That it's just irony and absurd.
Going backwards.
Yes, in a way. But apart from the political side, which there were no political freedoms. In the other spheres of life, we had a lot of liberal, possibilities. One of that was that we could actually see, British, American, television shows on our television. Really on that time. So
in the 70s.
in the 70s, I'm talking. Yes. Also films. In our cinema, I was I was born just our next door was a cinema, and I could watch all the American blockbusters there, even European films. So I have, for the first time I've seen Monty Python Flying Circus on TV, when I was, little, really like maybe teenager, I don't know. And it was very strange because I didn't get it, it was quite, strange humor. But then later on, it was one of the favorite, it influenced so much on me. And a group of people, especially a group of people I portray in my film, which were quite enthusiastic about that kind of humor. And I'm saying, and not only, Monty Python, also other, let's say, British, especially British, TV comedies were quite good and make a lot of influence on our growing, let's say. But also films, American and British especially have quite because we could see them, and rock and roll. Rock and roll is also one of the biggest influences I had in my life. I was a drummer, until recently, and I had hair. Yes.
Did you guys meet Michael Palin?
No, we never met him. Of course, he knows that we did a film about him. We have contacted him even in the pre-production. We had a dream that he could play actually himself there in a camera roll. We even wrote a scene, and we have contacted through our mutual friend, a British producer. He was not able, of course, to film it. Also, he was not physically was not well at that time, but he also was busy man. He is very old now. Mm-hmm. But he said, which we are very happy, that he sent a line, on an email that, I'm very glad you did this, and one day I'm going to do something for this film for you. So even this line is kind of Monty Python-esque line, So one day he's going to do something for us, which is great. So we still hope he's going to see the film. He didn't, of course, see the film, but we have some plans so that when we go to England to show it in some festivals, which we are talking after Tallinn, we have a plan to invite him and make a kind of Monty Python-esque event in that premiere.
So you're going to invite him?
Yes, for sure. We are going to invite him. I don't know if he's going to come, but he knows that we did a film for him, and he was very glad.
Nice. I have actually a question about Albanian language also.
Yes.
This is my first time hearing it, and I really enjoyed the flow and kind of the sound of it. So,
yeah.
what kind of language is Albanian? Where does it come from?
Yeah, Albanian language we speak in, as I said, also in Kosovo. The majority of Kosovans speak Albanian language, and also Albania itself, the country. And it is a unique language. It's Indo-European, but it stands alone in the let's say in the tree of languages, in the family of languages. So we have no other family. We stand alone. I think only 3 languages stand alone. I think it's Albanian, Armenian, and I think the third. I think it's Basque. I'm not sure, but for Armenian, I'm sure. So these 3 languages, they are very unique, and it's. Historically, according to theories, comes from ancient Illyrians. So the Illyrians, they were old people living in the Balkans before Roman came, before Romans and Slavs. So the ancient Balkanic people, during, let's say, Greek and Roman times, there were tribes. So we're coming from tribes, real tribes. The Illyrian tribes. So it's a very, the language is It's unique and it's very hard to understand for a foreigner, you know. And we make a lot of jokes about that as well, so because nobody could understand us wherever we go, so we can, you know, speak whatever we want.
Language.
Yes.
So what are your next plans, movie-wise?
Yes, I'm also, me and my producer, we are working on a new film now. We have now development support from Kosovo Film Center, but also from Southeastern European Cinema Network, which is a Balkanic network. So we have financial support for that, and we are developing a new story, a new film, and it's not a comedy. I decided not to do comedy because it's not easy to do comedy in this film industry. You know, it's always kind of underestimated, I think. And
People need comedy.
But yes, we need.
Especially in these hard times.
I know, which is, you know, the irony is because we need comedy, and the comedy is kind of always like underestimated. I mean, not from Tallinn, because they really respected our film, and we are in the main competitions. We are so happy. And but in general, I'm speaking, I know. And so, new film is a drama. It's a kind of it's a drama about a female character from a young girl from Albania, and who is being bought. It's a new phenomenon going on in the region. She's being bought as a, let's say, that's human trafficking, let's say, from in Serbia, because in the south of Serbia and Kosovo, the Serbian villages they have less and less women, so they have no children.
Okay.
So now they go to Albania, which is a very poor country in the north, and they buy young girls, teenage, 18 years, girls, who can make children and work on the field. And it's very strange because these two nations are antagonists. You know, there are still politically very high tensions between Albanians and Serbs and Kosovans. You know, it's very political, you know, mishmash. You know, and on this middle of this mishmash, there's this drama which I'm trying to develop about a young girl who is now married in, let's say, in a hostile village somewhere, you know, in a different culture, and it's clash of cultures, clash, you know.
Lots of conflicts.
It's a complex drama which I'm trying to develop.
I also realized that you had like a piece of a Radiohead song in your movie. Did you notice that?
It looks like, yes. Oh, you're nice, you're good.
Are you a fan of Radiohead?
No, I like Radiohead so much. And as a composer, it was from Macedonia, from North Macedonia. He also is, we kind of clicked immediately. So
Okay.
I showed him, you know, it was like this. I did myself, you know, what is in my head. I put music wherever I wanted, and I put music what I like. Let's say I put Radiohead, you know, something like this. So he had a real clear picture of what I want. So I must have put a Radiohead there. But it's not Radiohead. It's something similar.
It's not Radiohead.
But you're good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Fatos Berisha.
Thank you, Joseph.
I hope this film will do amazing, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Joseph.
Hope you have a good stay here.
Thank you for this really nice chat and for having us here.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Minuga oli PÖFF TV stuudios filmi Lendav CIRCUS režissöör Fatos Berisha ja soovitan seda filmi väga, kui te ei ole kunagi Albaanias käinud. See on väga lahe selline buddy comedy road trip movie, mida soovitan kõikidele vaatama minna.